Wasted World of Sports, ahoy! There we go, we're up and running for some more Big Bash over the halfway point in the competition, no less. Got to remember, BBL 14, a slightly shorter rendition compared to previous years. So we're over the halfway mark. We've started to see quite clearly now the separation between the contenders and the pretenders. A team that I've been very concerned about, of course, have been my own team, the Brisbane Heat. But this is, quite frankly, probably the most exciting Brisbane Heat lineup that we've seen so far in BBL 14, perhaps since the opening games, where they were going quite well. If we recall correctly, the Brisbane Heat did start with a couple of victories, but then they started fiddling about with their team and fell completely off the cliff. Well, I'm happy to report that this is probably now the changes that have been made, the best balanced Brisbane Heat team that we've seen since those early rounds, since those opening rounds, where they did seem to have it together. And the title defense at one point there was looking quite good. Well, it's looking okay again. Specifically, I'm talking about the return of Michael Neser. Michael Neser coming back into the attack is huge because what it means is Xavier Bartlett and Spencer Johnson, who are bowling completely off the chain, are going to have some support. One of the big problems for the Heat was Xavier Bartlett and Spencer Johnson would start so well, and then there would be no, like, part-timers essentially would come in and bowl those middle overs and just give the momentum back to the opposition. Well, that might not happen tonight because Michael Neser is going to keep up the attack. He's going to keep the pressure on the batting side. So that's a big, big in. Jack Wood as well. Jack Wood, just a little more stable in the batting lineup than Big Paul. Tall Paul was a little bit concerning. He just didn't quite fire this season. And talk about coming straight back into it, Michael Neser, not just back into the team, but he will be opening the bowling. Daniel Sams, of course, for the Sydney Thunder, still out. And Cameron Bancroft, if we remember the big collision the other night. So Daniel Sams is okay, but still recovering from that. He'll be out for the next game or two while he recovers. Anyway, chat rooms, welcome along. D-Funk and Taupo, ahoy there on YouTube and over on TikTok. The Bruiser Cruiser. Do you know who's first in the tipping, Bruiser Cruiser? I think it's me. Ezra Robinson, ahoy, mate. Michael Neser with the first ball. Brisbane Heat winning the bat flip, electing to field. And welcome back, Michael Neser. He's been cut away into the outfield where McSweeney, I think it is, out there chasing hard with Colin Munro. They stopped the four, but Michael Neser a little bit loose there. To start off, it was very nearly a wicket, by the way. It was uppishly played. And Ollie Davies with 3 runs. Michael Neser didn't quite get that dream start back in the squad. 3 off the first ball. Brings David Warner on strike. It's interesting that, like, I would have thought that Neser was back into the squad to take those middle overs, as I was saying. But it's interesting that they've opened with him when Xavier Bartlett's been doing so well. Neser floats this one up, half volley outside off, gets away with it because Warner has picked out the man in the covers. So a little bit of a loose start here for Neser. You know what that's caused by? That's caused by me talking him up so much in the pregame. I was talking him up. No, that's going to happen. I can't remember the last time Neser played. I think this might be his first, only his first or second game in BBL 14. Beautiful outswinger. And Ollie Davies just hangs the bat up and very nearly gets an outside edge. And that's more like it from Neser. Poor Ollie Davies, he had no hope there, no chance. And it's none for 4. Cuts him in half this time. No movement at all. Straightens on. No chance of an LBW. It was high and it was down leg. But it was beautifully bowled again. Neser returns with 2 dot balls. Marcus Rogers, ahoy there, mate. Ezra Robertson, as I said, we are back indeed. We're late, but we're back. Neser with 2 balls left. On target again. Davies, all he can do is just bend it back to the bowler. So yeah, we took a couple of days off. I was doing some catching up with some friends over the holiday period. They all go back to work today, or I should say went back to work today. It's already 6 o'clock, isn't it? Final ball of Neser's over. Turned away to the leg side by Davies. They'll come through for 1, push back for another one. 2 runs to end. It's none for 6 off the first over. A couple of loose balls to start with. But then Neser got straight back on target. Straight back into his work. But yes, it is an interesting talking point because I would have thought, just running through the team sheets, I would have thought Neser is surely there for filling in those middle overs, taking one of the power play overs, perhaps. Have him bowl one of the power play overs, have him come on for a couple in the middle, and then save one for the end if required. And here is Xavier Bartlett. Xavier Bartlett has been one of the best bowlers in the entire BBL, quite frankly. So Marcus Rogers, my team are the Brisbane Heat. And they're on pretty much a must-win game here tonight. Bartlett is on point immediately. Beautiful. Beautiful. Full delivery, swinging back into Warner. Mitch Christensen, ahoy, mate. Up the Heat. McGregor Orchard, ahoy, mate. Ahoy, not the Todd. At the end of November, start of December, I refereed in my first touch tournament. Was the Junior State Championships. Again, Bartlett, nice full delivery back into the left-hander. Chance of a run out at the non-striker's end, but the stumps are not hit. It was the Junior State Championships, so the kids and I got upgraded from a level 1 to a level 2. Oh, very nice. You also got the under-12s mixed semi-final and their grand final. Very nice, McGregor, not the Todd Orchard. I'll drink to that. But let's face it, I'll drink to anything, won't I? Rafiq, ahoy, mate. Will Warner hit 1-6? You would have to think so. Mitch Christensen, thank you very much for the TikTok and the heart me. Very much appreciated. Cheers. Xavier Bartlett's now got a very good matchup here with Ollie Davies. Ollie Davies, of course, opening the batting here tonight in the absence of Cameron Bancroft. Speaking of the Bancroft-Sams collision, both players obviously still feeling the effect of that because both players sitting out tonight. I think. I mean, Daniel Sams is definitely sitting out, but I'm pretty sure Cameron Bancroft is as well. Bartlett gets some nice shape away, but unfortunately it's gone straight into the arc of Ollie Davies, who didn't fully commit to the swing, but he gets more than enough to just lift that over the top of mid-off and away to the fence for 4. Are you breathing? Drink to that. Yes, I will drink to literally anything. Liver complications, you say? I'll drink to that. Well, wait. Maybe not a good idea, that one. Davies this time turns it fine. And can't beat Kuhneman inside the circle. Dot ball. Bodie, ahoy, mate. Welcome along. 1.5 overs gone, none for 11. It's a decent enough start. The Brisbane Heat winning the bat flip and electing to bowl first. Mitchell Vela Sports, ahoy, mate. I've tipped the Heat tonight. I'm liking the looks of some of the changes they've made to their squad. Davies, a slightly shorter delivery. He just punches it back down the ground. For 1, it's none for 12. 6 runs and over. The return of Michael Neser. The inclusion of Jack Wood. Do they still have Spencer Johnson playing, or they're giving him a rest? Yeah, Spencer Johnson's playing. Spencer Wertho, ahoy there. Welcome along. And of course, one thing I didn't really get a chance to mention in the pregame because I was late, so there wasn't much of a pregame. But Dan Christian, a veteran of Big Bash cricket, Dan Christian has got the green back on, the green and black. The green and black back on. And that will be very, very, very cool to see. Dan Christian, a blast from the past and a half. Sams will be out for the next 4 games as per BBL's concussion protocol. I love how BBL's even got... Everyone's got concussion protocols now, right? Which is not a problem, by the way. I'm obviously not saying that like it's a negative thing. It's just interesting. Everywhere there's concussion protocols now. Even in cricket, where you wouldn't really anticipate. As Davies goes for the ramp. All he's done is lift it straight through to the keeper, and the catch is taken. Ollie Davies' poor form continues. And Neser gets his first wicket. Going the ramp. Taking the gamble. And it's the Brisbane Heat who have won on this occasion. Jeez, when you're not in form, and poor Ollie Davies can't win a trick at the moment. So maybe he should be staying away from those little ramp shots and the lap shots and whatnot. Certainly hasn't worked out for him there. Max Hodge, ahoy there, mate. Max Hodge asks who wins. I've tipped the Brisbane Heat, which doesn't mean they'll win, of course, but I am top of the Wasted World of Sports Big Bash Tipping League at the moment. By a fair margin, too, I think. People have got some catching up to do as Matthew Gilks out to the crease. A crucial early wicket there for the Brisbane Heat. As we said, they won the bat flip, did the Heat, and elected to field first, so very important. And it's an important game for the Heat because their title defence is hanging by a thread at the moment. Gilks to face his first ball. It's a little wide down the leg side. He just lifts it off his hips for 4. Beautiful shot. Warner has started very tentatively. But I remember what happened the last time that David Warner started a match tentatively. He went on and got about 80 that night, I think. Just a couple of games ago. The Jelks starts with a 4. Neser straightens things up and gets a much better line on this occasion. One for 16. Welcome back, Michael Neser. So, from McGregor Orchard on YouTube, Bancroft is out for the season with a broken nose and a shoulder. Holy hell. Off the top edge, and it's going to be over the top of the circle. Behind the wicket. And it races away for 4. Spencer Johnson can't track it down. Unlucky there for the bowler. And a good start for Jelks. Jelks is 8 from 3. Warner is 2 from 3. And the Thunder, 1 for 16. Daniel Sams will be out for the next 4 games, so this one included. So Daniel Sams will be back for the finals, basically, should the Sydney Thunder make it. And I tell you what, Bancroft was only contributing so much, wasn't he? But Daniel Sams is a big absence in their fight for the finals. Xavier Bartlett to bowl the last of the power play overs. To Warner. Warner slashes at it outside off. Gets the top edge. Down to the third man boundary for 4. It certainly wasn't a clean hit. That's now back-to-back boundaries for the Thunder. Off the top edge. Down to that third man fence. What they say, right? Like, you go hard enough at those balls. Oh, cricket commentary. You swing hard enough at it, you'll likely get enough on it to just fly away to the fence. Bartlett, can he adjust? Oh, adjust he does. Cuts David Warner in half. But bouncing too high over the top of the stumps. FragranceBeast.com. Thoughts on Max Bryant? I feel like Max Bryant is, well, for me, anyway, as a Brisbane Heat supporter, Max Bryant has probably, I don't know, maybe overstayed his welcome. I'd like to see him opening, quite frankly. I'd much rather see him opening with the old Brendan McCullum days of Brisbane Heat. Go out there and get yourself 50 off 10 balls, or just be done with it. The problem with the Brisbane Heat back in the Brendan McCullum days is everybody tried to bat like Brendan McCullum and Chris Lynn. The idea should have been, in my opinion, Brendan McCullum and Chris Lynn go out there and just swing for the bloody heavens. But if it doesn't pay off, then the next batsman in needs to be a little bit more standard batting innings, rebuild. They didn't do that, though. The next 3 men would come in and try and hit the leather off the ball as well. And speaking of hitting the leather off the ball, Jelks is seeing them very well out there. And David Warner going a little bit more traditionally down the other end. That was nicely lifted over the top of the mid-wicket region. Away for another 4. Inside edge back onto the pads and away for a single. 9 runs. 9 runs off this over already. Not a good start to the, or not a good end to the power play for the Brisbane Heat. But the Sydney Thunder were in a situation where it's a little all or nothing here, this final over. They did need to up the runs a bit, shape away from that clearly their best over. The Sydney Thunder, 11 from it, I believe, 10 or 11 from it. And they end the power play overs 1 for 31. Max Hodge, will I be live tomorrow? Very, very high likelihood. Extremely high likelihood as the Renegades take on the Scorchers. There it is. Optus Stadium in Perth. So, of course, both all teams play twice, I believe it is. 10 games apiece in a slightly condensed tournament for BBL 14. Now, here we go. These are the interesting overs. Well, this is confusing to me, I've got to say. I feel like the Brisbane Heat picked the team, but maybe Colin Munro's just not that good a captain. He made some interesting choices the other night as well. Nate B, ahoy, mate. Nate B, 2011. I would have kept the pressure on. I thought the whole idea of Neser coming back into the squad was there are now 3 gun bowlers. 3 gun bowlers. No reprieve for the batsman. It doesn't make sense when Spencer Johnson hasn't bowled an over yet. And we're now going to Kuhneman. And there's nothing wrong with Kuhneman, but I just would, well, apart from that ball, wide down the leg side. It's interesting. I would have kept the pressure on. Bowl Spencer Johnson for at least 1 over. Kuhneman drops this one in a little shorter and jilks. Turns it flying down the leg side. Just the single. Kuhneman, wide outside off this time. Warner cuts it away. They'll push for 2 or settle for 1. They push for 2. That's good running. Good running there for the Thunder. Ollie Davies, the batsman, out. Going cheaply again. Pushing for 2 again, but this time the fielder's racing. Keep it to 1. Barry Kane, 23, ahoy there. What did I think of that last test? I think, quite frankly, as Jilks goes for the sweep, gets under it a little bit, but it falls painfully short of Max Bryant. Out there at deep square leg, and just the 1. XJC, ahoy, mate. I've tipped the Brisbane Heat tonight. Kuhneman with his last ball. Warner props back in the crease. Pulls it away for another single. So, interesting start there for Kuhneman. 8 runs from it. 1 for 39. I would have kept the pressure on. Look, I'm no captain. I'm no coach. But it just strikes me as a little odd that you've got 3 frontline bowlers. And Spencer Johnson's been, unless he's carrying some sort of niggle, but if he is, why even risk playing him in the first place? Mitch Swepson now to join Kuhneman. So I think for Test cricket, for both Australia and India at the moment. I think we did see the final series for quite a few players. And as this is a big bash stream, I'll leave it to your imagination. But I'm sure you can figure out who we're talking about. But there'll be a couple of players, at least, for both teams that we have most likely seen the last of. As Swepson tosses this one up right in the zone for David Warner to just drop down to his knee and lift it square of the wicket on the leg side for 4. Well, that's just a gift. I don't get this. I do not get this at all. Look, as a Brisbane Heat fan, Swepson has been immense for the Brisbane Heat over the years. Kuhneman's been tidy down the other end. I just don't get. As Warner now goes the reverse sweep, gets just enough on it, and it's back-to-back boundaries. Warner, 19 off 13 now. Honestly, I know I'm harping on about this, but I'm just interested if anybody agrees with me. Neser's come back into the squad. Which, in my opinion, would have meant you can keep the pressure on the batsmen rather than giving them these overs off as Swepson tosses up a wide down the leg side. 9 from the over so far, and he's got a re-bowl one. But eliminating these sorts of easy overs to let the batsman off the hook a little bit and let them build some momentum with some soft overs of just pushing for 1s and 2s. But we haven't used him. I don't understand. Makes no sense to me at all. Anyway, it is what it is. Swepson throws in a straight one. Jilks punching back down the ground for 1. $11 runs from this over so far. 2 balls to go. I don't think Jilks is going to hang around. Swepson to Warner. Warner just turns it away for 2 very good runs. Well run. Warner goes to 20. And David Warner, again, he's playing one of those controlled innings we saw from him the other night, a couple of nights ago, or whenever it was, a couple of games ago, when we were talking about how he's going so slow comparatively for David Warner. He's really taking things easy. Well, now he goes the reverse slog sweep. Gets just enough on it. Fantastic effort in the outfield there. But can't save it, and it's another boundary. And Swepson is being taken to the absolute woodshed here. 17 runs from that over. And I just don't understand it. And honestly, Spencer Johnson has been one of, possibly even arguably, the best bowler of BBL 14 so far. And he's standing there scratching his nuts. Bowl him, for goodness sake. Give the man the ball. But now, unfortunately, they're going to be giving him the ball to 2 batsmen who are now well and truly set. David Warner, 26 off 16. Jilks, 16 off 8. It's 1 for 56. And here we go. Spencer Johnson's been throwing the ball now. Couple of overs too late. Hans, ahoy, mate. Thoughts on Dan Christian playing? Well, he's a trooper, isn't he? Dan Christian is a it would feel wrong at this point if there were a BBL with no Dan Christian playing as Johnson. Bangs it in short to start with, and Jilks gets a top edge over the keeper as he goes for the hook. A top edge over the keeper for 4. And those top edges tonight are racing away over this Gabba outfield. Johnson goes again. A fuller ball, outside edge, taken. There's the breakthrough. Jilks is gone. Why did he not get the ball a couple of overs sooner? Spencer Johnson, absolutely on point with that delivery on that fourth stump channel, outside off, shape away from the left-hander. Feathers the edge and through to the keeper for an easy catch. Big breakthrough, that one. And I've got to beg that question that I've been asking, as Tom Alsop is the keeper taking the catch. I've got to ask that question again. Why was Spencer Johnson not given the ball a couple of overs before? The Thunder were given 2 overs of complete freedom. I mean, they took Kuhneman. They took Kuhneman for 11, I think, and then they took Swepson for 17. That is 28 free runs that they've just been given. Yaddy, ahoy there. Which BBL team do you support? I go for the Brisbane Heat, so I am going to try and remain as impartial as possible calling this game. And, well, here's a former Brisbane Heat player, Sam Billings, out to the crease now to replace Jilks. BMX Cozzo, ahoy there. I don't remember the BMX underscore, but the Cozza is definitely memorable. How do I feel about the accident last game as Johnson beats the edge? Billings has just come in and hung the bat out. And very unlucky to not get an edge there. It was nasty, that collision. It was one of the most awkward things that I've certainly had to cover live. Let's put it that way. It was a nasty blow for a cricket field. It wouldn't have been out of place on a footy field. Would not have batted an eyelid if that happened in the footy, as Billings has a completely aimless hoik at this one. And it's a swing and a miss through to the keeper. Spencer Johnson is bang on target immediately. If I were covering the NRL or the rugby, I wouldn't have even blinked at that. I would have gone, oh, another concussion injury. But the fact that it had happened out there on a cricket field, it was nasty. Peter Venetoulis up the Heat here at the game. Oh, very nice. The game at the Gabba, of course, tonight. That might have come off a glove. It's beaten Alsop and it's away for 4. Beaten the keeper. I didn't get a glove. It's been called a wide. That must have been so close to a little touch on the glove. Away to the boundary for 4. Past the keeper. So 9 runs and a wicket off this over so far. A bit of an odd one for Spencer Johnson. Jaws the edge, and it's going to just beat the man at backward point. Billings is off the mark at last. 1 ball left. 2 for 65. Of course, I remember you, Nate B. 2011, one of the very first followers from cricket streams. Well, one of the first chatters anyway. Ball delivery outside off, punched away from Billings. Racing over this outfield for 4. Through the covers. $15 runs from the over and a wicket. So I mean, Spencer Johnson, he got the breakthrough, but, well, some of those runs were a little unlucky to have gone against him, to be honest. So not entirely his own fault there. Two for 71 it is. Yaddy needs Warner to hit a 6. And then the Heat can bowl them all out in 2 overs for all you care. Well, David Warner, he is definitely playing that controlled innings that we saw when he racked up the 80 or 90, whatever it was that he got. Kuhneman back into the attack. And interesting that Kuhneman's given up the least runs outside of those power play overs. And he starts well. Warner cuts it away for a single. Can't beat the man inside the circle there. Two for 72. And Swepson, poor old Mitch Swepson. What's happened with him? Wasn't he in the Aussie team at one point? I'm fairly certain that Swepson got selected for a period of time there in the Aussie one-day team. Kuhneman drops this one in a little shorter, but again, just chopped away from the batsman out to the cover. Just the one run. Ahoy there, Jace. How are you, mate? Kuhneman floats this one up, gets some good turn down the leg side. And Warner, happy to just paddle it around the corner. Billings now steps back in his crease. They'll push for 2 here down to long on. And it would have been a tight couple of runs there with a good throw. But there wasn't a good throw. It was a poor one. Well run. 2 for 76. That run rate just getting up towards 10 and over. So despite the wickets, the Sydney Thunder here have pretty much kept on top of this innings so far. Single. Square on the offside to finish the over. Kuhneman has bowled well again, just giving up the singles compared to the other bowlers that he's in tandem with at the moment that are giving up boundaries galore. And let's see if Spencer Johnson gets another over. He did get the breakthrough, Spencer Johnson, but yeah, I really, really do feel like they held him back an over or two unnecessarily. And they're going back to Michael Neser. Well, this is where I'd expected Neser to bowl in the first place, to be honest. 1 for 14 off his 2 overs. Those were both in the power play, of course. 2 for 77 here. The Thunder, they being the Brisbane Heat, have got to find a way to just slow things down here. And one way to do that, of course, is wickets. wickets quickly. Neser to Billings. Billings charges, gets a top edge. It's straight up in the air. Alsop's under it. The man with the gloves and the keeper takes the catch. And Neser back into the squad. Bags his second wicket. It's 3 for 77 now. And Sam Billings back in the sheds. Well, we've seen quite a few of those top edges fly away to the boundary. On this occasion, it lands the way of the fielding team. Went straight up in the air. And it's been pouched by Alsop behind the stumps. Three for 77. They'll be a little happier about that scoreline, the Brisbane Heat. As Shafane Rutherford comes to the crease. Shafane Rutherford, the hero of the last game for the Sydney Thunder. And they need him here tonight to help just keep things on track here with David Warner. Warner's 28 off 18, looking very set, very settled. And he does seem to be set for another one of those big ones. David Warner. Rutherford. A slightly slower ball there from Neser. And Rutherford doesn't get to the pace of it and wears it on the body for a dot ball to start. A slow starter, Rutherford. Traditionally, so if they can get him early, the Brisbane Heat, square him up early. Pushes that down. Square on the leg side for one. And 3 for 78 now. 8.3 overs gone, so delicately poised here. Warner gets a slower delivery. Lots of extra bounce there from Neser. But see the difference between Warner and Rutherford there. Rutherford only just come out to the crease. And he didn't get to the pace of that slower ball, but David Warner was not fooled. And that's obviously a big difference. A batsman well and truly set compared to one just coming in and having to get their eye in right from the word go. 2 deliveries left. Neser just creeps onto the pads this time. Rutherford turns it fine down the leg side for one. Might have been a leg by. Watching the umpire here. No call of the leg by, so that was off the bat. Well bowled here from Michael Neser. Welcome back to the bowling lineup. 2 for 17 off his 2.5 so far. And Warner pushing for 2. Wants the 2. He wants to come back, but Shafane Rutherford wants no part of that. Is he... Come on, Davey. I only just got out here. I don't want to be doing running like that. Warner retains the strike, which could be crucial for the Thunder because who's going to bowl this next over? Swepson got annihilated out of the attack. And Spencer Johnson with the ball. Now, this is a good call. This is a very good call. Give Johnson another over. Because if he can get rid of David Warner, that will be the huge wicket now. David Warner. And Johnson is on point immediately. Brandon Hurst needs Xavier Bartlett for a wicket. If I had a chance to have put a multi on, I would have had Xavier Bartlett for sure. Jai Marshall, 525, asks who got out. Ollie Davies opened the batting. He went very cheaply. And then Jilks got himself out. And Sam Billings, most recent wicket. Three for 82. The Thunder still travelling along nicely, but the Heat successfully slowing things down as Rutherford tries to hammer that square of the wicket on the leg side for 6. Nothing but air. What did Billings make? I think he got over 10, I'm pretty sure. I think he got 10 plus. Yeah, 10. Exactly 10. Johnson drops it in. Right in the slot. And Shafane Rutherford hooks this one away up into the night sky and sailing over the rope for 6. And he just got the length wrong there, Spencer Johnson. That was right in the arc. And that is the first 6 of the innings, by the way. The Sydney Thunder's first 6. And it's gone 89 metres. That was right in the slot. It really was a poor delivery. What does Johnson do to correct that? Wide outside off. Rutherford lifts it away. Square of the wicket. One bounce to McSweeney. Out at the deep point boundary. Just the one run. Yeah, the wickets. The wickets have Ollie Davies got 10. Jilks got 20. And Billings got 10. Those are the 3 wickets so far. Johnson with 2 balls left. He's as Warner just punches it back to Johnson. Dot ball. But Spencer Johnson, he's got the wicket. But he's been taken to task a little bit. He's got the wicket, but he's been expensive. 1 for 23 off 1.5. I'm going for the Brisbane Heat. Jai. Johnson, a fuller ball this time. Warner. Picks out Michael Neser there. At short third man. Backward point region. Somewhere there or thereabouts. And that is the drinks break. 10 overs gone. Officially at the halfway point here of this Sydney Thunder batting innings. And it's 3 for 89. Yes, the Brisbane Heat are my team. Which most of the time is very much a curse, very difficult. Last year was good, though. 3 for 89. So, very, very delicately poised scenario here for the Sydney Thunder. The run rate was up around 9.9 and over at one point, but doing extremely well to pull that back a little bit. Ah, very nice. Oh, God! Channel 7, I've got to switch the stations. Ah, I hate it when they do this. Who's my favorite current player? I'll tell you what. Who I'm really, really enjoying watching in BBL 14. I'm really, really enjoying Cooper Connolly. I think he is very exciting to watch. Yeah, the Brisbane Heat. I'm not quite sure that Colin Munro's a good captain. I'm not saying that I would do any better, but I just find that the selections for the bowling here have been a little bit odd. Kuhneman, though, he's been doing well. He's kept it what you would expect from Kuhneman, just giving up singles, the occasional 2. He's none for 14 off his 2 overs. Thoughts on Dan Christian playing as well? Yes. I think at this point, in all honesty, a big bash without Dan Christian just doesn't feel right as Kuhneman. Right when I've talked him up, right when I've said Kuhneman's doing what you would expect of him and doing his job, he bangs one in short, and David Warner says, "Thank you, sir," and pulls it away for 4. Too short, that one. From Kuhneman. Poor bowling. They come through for a single there, back to the bowler. And this has been the problem with the Brisbane Heat in recent games. Basically, like, they've been going all right, but then the foot comes off the throat. And these middle overs, this is where they've really, really struggled. Kuhneman gets an under edge from Rutherford through the legs of the keeper. Unlucky there. And the batsmen come through for 1. So the Heat, once again, they're taking wickets, but that run rate's still 9 and over. They're taking the wickets, but the batting team still comfortably moving the score along. And Warner seems like he's well and truly set for a big one. He's been happy to just paddle the ball around, and looks like he's setting himself up for another big score. Rutherford steps back in the crease, pulls it away, and he has picked out McSweeney at deep square leg. And Shafane Rutherford throws his head back in frustration, because with all those gaps out there, he's picked out the man. McSweeney's made good ground, and he's done well to take that catch, but completely unnecessary for Rutherford to be lifting that in the air anyway. He could have very comfortably just hammered that into the gap along the turf. Rutherford's gone for 11 off 9. The 4th wicket falls. But that run rate, 8.82, like, they've taken wickets, but they haven't really slowed them down too much. Critically, for the Sydney Thunder, though, David Warner still out there. Now, what's going on here? Ah. 4 for 97, 11 overs gone. And Hugh Wybgen out to the crease. Huey. Swepson back into the attack. None for 17 off his first over. Bangs it in short, and David Warner pulls it away. Out to the rope for 4. Swepson, none for 21 off 1.1 overs. Well, he is getting absolutely tonked out there tonight. Warner approaching his 50. And he starts his second over with a boundary and a 1. Let's see. If you're gonna, I'll be right back. I'll just go grab some. All right. Swepson in again. That's good. We didn't miss a ball. Weepkin can't beat the fielder. And a dot ball for Swepson. And a hugely sarcastic round of applause from the home crowd, realizing that he's not having a good night. They come back for 2 on this occasion. I don't think I've ever seen poor Swepson just get absolutely destroyed like this. Been crazy. Weepkin again. Just stepping back in the crease, giving himself some room. But he can't get this one away. Cut away. But just the single and a better one from Swepson. Apart from his first ball. The first ball was still a bit of a shocker. But a much better over on this occasion from Swepson. And it's crucial for the Heat because they do need to try and slow things down a little bit. It is crazy. They're taking the wickets, as we've said, getting the wickets, but still allowing the runs to flow. Tournament. He's going to bowl himself out here. 1 for 23 of 3.1. Warner on 42 of 28. Jai Marshall asks if Marnus Labuschagne still plays for the Heat. Yes, he does. Marnus and Baja. Pretty sure. Quite. Yeah. It was Marnus still with the Heat. For 108, Warner back on strike. Moot up Broski. Ahoy there. Welcome along. Warner goes for the big hit this time. It's along the ground. Out to long on. Just the single. Well bowled. Kuhneman just 4 singles. Right in the slot this time. Weebgen lifts it from the offside. Flat bats it straight back down the ground over long on fence for 6. Well, once again, I've just complimented Kuhneman on how he's going, and he gives up a boundary. Final ball of his over. Final ball of his spell here. Kuhneman, can he finish with a wicket? He can! Top edged and taken. Weibgen's gone. Gets the top edge. And it just lofts in the air. And an easy catch for the man around that short third man region. And Weibgen's on his way for 11. The Thunder now 5 for 115, 13 overs gone. Jai Marshall here on the Waste to Water Sports, live on YouTube, live on TikTok, soon to be once again live on Twitch, and live on Facebook. We cover primarily the NRL, but I also love my rugby union. I'm a big rugby union fan. So we cover some Super Rugby. We cover all the rugby championships. There's a Lions tour coming up this year. Chris Green now, the new man in. Warner finding form could be dangerous if they make the finals. Indeed, Warner 44 off 30. And the thing about David Warner and how he's been playing is he's been playing very controlled batting. Like, he has really taken the time to build his innings. Swepson back into the bowling attack. Well, these could be the big overs. Jack Wood is out there. Jack Wood replacing Paul Walter. Is more than capable of bowling a couple of overs. So Swepson, if he doesn't improve off this over, they might regret not bloody giving Jack Wood a crack here. But anyway, let's see. Well, he floats this one up. Swepson tempting Green into a big hit, but he doesn't fall for it. He's happy to just turn the strike back over to David Warner. Now, do not float one up like that to David Warner, or it's going to go out onto bloody, what are the streets around the Gabba there? It's going to wind up on Stanley Street. Warner drops down to the knee, turns it away, can't beat the field. And a dot ball for Swepson. Another sarcastic round of applause from the home crowd. Wide outside off. Warner chases it. Takes out Max Bryant. Adds, ahoy mates. And go the Heat. Power surge still in their pocket as well, DeHaunce. They haven't used that surge yet. And Warner, happy to just push this one down to long off for the 1. And a much, much better over from Swepson. And he finishes with a single as well. Only 4 from it. Much better from Swepson. 5 for 119. Rafiq says just need 1-6 from Warner still. And Liam, welcome back. Nice to see you again. Much better over that one from Swepson. After a very, very poor start. The run rate, 8.5. Like, it's been consistent. They've kept it very, very consistent here, the Thunder, despite the continuous loss of wickets. Spencer Johnson back into the attack, and the power surge has been called. Power surge with Green on strike. I don't really understand that. I really don't. We've seen it a lot. The power surge gets called when the fresh man at the crease is on strike. Surely you manipulate it if you're the Sydney Thunder so that David Warner is on strike at the start of a power surge. But anyway, let's see how it goes. Johnson puts it full, maybe a little too full. It's been dropped by the man at mid-on. Neser, it's in and out as he dives away to the left. Might be a no ball for height anyway. So maybe it's a good thing that he dropped it. Yes, it is. It's a no ball. It was very high. Exclusive bets, ahoy there. And, oh, thank you very much, ASA Ash. Ash, thank you very much for the rose. All right, so Spencer Johnson, he's got to do this one again. A free hit off a no ball was not the start that Spencer Johnson was after, to say the least. Warner, 46 off 34. Steps back, pushes it away to the offside for 4. Down to the long on fence. David Warner brings up his 50 of 35 deliveries. Well played here tonight from David Warner. Once again, he is in fine form at the moment. That's just David Warner doing David Warner things. Oh! Like getting clean bowled by Spencer Johnson the very next ball after bringing up his 50. Well, what was he trying to do there? He got a little bit too cheeky there, David Warner. And Spencer Johnson has clean bowled him. And that is a massive wicket. He's gone the ramp is what he's done, David Warner. He's gone for the ramp from outside his leg stump. But Spencer Johnson said, I'm going to throw up a little surprise here. I'm not even going to bowl it out there. I'm going to bowl it out here on the offside. Clean bowls him. David Warner goes for 50 off 36. That's a big wicket, that one. Right at the start of the power surge. They probably could have afforded to lose. They probably could have afforded to lose Chris Green. They couldn't afford to lose David Warner. That is a massive, massive wicket, and it's Spencer Johnson coming through with the goods. And that wicket specifically, I believe, Paddy, swings this game in favour of the Brisbane Heat. I think it's a clear advantage to the Heat now. But here we go. Here's a man who could change it. Dan Christian. The veteran. Dan Christian. To face the first ball from Johnson. He just fends it away. Square of the wicket on the leg side for 1 run. A BBL without Dan Christian just doesn't feel like BBL. So it's good to see him out there. Spencer Johnson, again, by his own high standards, has been expensive, but he's been getting the wickets. 2 for 30. Oldest players in the Big Bash League. Brad Hogg played at 46. Warney played at 43. Six for 126 here. Green stands back and flat backs this back past the mid-off. Jason Sanderson, ahoy there, mate. Up the Thunder Nation. 1 ball left in this over. So Spencer Johnson, he's been expensive by his own high standards, as I said, but he's taken wickets. 2 critical wickets. And a bump ball, a crowd catch out to Max Bryant. And a dot ball to finish. Spencer Johnson, 2 for 32 off 3 overs. All right. I better switch the porch light on for the delivery driver. Be right back. Oops. Second of the power surge overs to go to Xavier Bartlett. Archie 17. Where is Jimmy Pearson? I have been asking the same question. Archie? I don't know if he's injured, or I don't know what he might have done to find himself out of favour. As Bartlett just drifts onto the legs a little bit there, gets away with it. Christian glances it fine. Just the single. Jocker, ahoy there. Go the Thunder. Green back on strike. Bartlett gets Green to just loop this up in the air. And Kuhneman takes the catch in the covers. A simple one at that. Another wicket falls. The second wicket goes down here in the power surge. And Sydney Thunder are on the ropes now. Banging it in slightly shorter there, Bartlett, and a slower ball. And Green was through his shot way too early, and it just loops up into the sky. Straight to the man, Kuhneman, who was able to run around there in the covers for an easy catch. That's another one down. Well and truly on top here now, the Brisbane Heat. Paddy Hearn, thank you very much for the roses there. Very much appreciate that. Oh, yes. Good timing, too, because I can collect my order. Jocker, I would say that the Brisbane Heat are on top now as Thomas Andrews comes to the crease. Yes, it'll be the Heat slightly ahead here. And that's uppishly played from Andrews, but into the gap. And they come back for two. Well run. Seven for 131. As we always say, you just get yourself to 140 and you just never know what might happen. And they should get to 140. So we've still got a game on our hands here. Brisbane Heat winning the toss and electing to field first, but and if the Thunder could get themselves, they go for a quick single here. Direct hit would be interesting. But missing the stumps there, and they're through for one. The current run rate's 8.43. That will be hard to maintain. Well, Dan Christian could do it if he gets his eye in. But if they can travel along around the same run rate, lift themselves up to 160, 170, that will take some chasing. Get to 140 first, though. Get to 140, then target 150, so on and so on. To see where they end. Give yourself something to bowl at. That's the critical thing. Final ball of this Bartlett over. Wire slashed away on the offside, racing away for four. Sorry about that. Okay. Logan, ahoy, mate. Bootman, you need, they need 160 minimum. And then bowl out the Heat in under 16. Botman says Heat by 5+ wickets. Johnson, beautiful full delivery there, right on the stumps, right on the popping crease. Dot ball. Yeah, I woke up late for the stream tonight. I played, has everyone heard of Nap Roulette? I played a game of Nap Roulette and I almost lost. I was a little late with everything tonight. Late with my delivery there. Had to pop off and get that as Andrews backs away in the crease and just spanks this over the long on fence for six. Long off fence, sorry. For 6 valuable runs here for the Thunder. 79 meters it goes. Johnson. Now, Full ball. Andrews goes the ramp. And again, Spencer Johnson has taken the stumps. Stop it with the ramps and the reverse sweeps. And just if he just stands there and bangs that back down the pitch, he might get a 4 straight down the ground. But instead, he's gone for the ramp, misses it completely, and off stump is bent in half. 8 for 144, and it's looking more and more likely that they'll be bowled out here, the Thunder. Jocker, my favourite team is the Brisbane Heat. Artie's TikTok, ahoy mate, Thunder all the way. Oh, Lockie Ferguson now out to bat. Spencer Johnson, 2 balls left. Can he get a 4th? Beautifully bowled. Ferguson, well defended. And it's a dot ball. Some nice cricket all the way around there. But again, 7 runs from this over and a wicket. He's been expensive tonight, Spencer Johnson. 3 for 39 and 1 delivery left in his spell. Expensive, but he's taken some key wickets. And a swing and a miss at this one from Ferguson. And it was a great delivery to finish. 3 for 39 off his 4 overs. 8 for 144. Who's my least favorite team? Least favorite team. I don't really have one, to be honest. Like, there's no one. It's not like in the rugby league, in the NRL or the Super Rugby, where I've got teams that I just absolutely hate. Teams that I just cannot stand. Teams that I want to see lose every single week. I don't really have that in Big Bash. Jumpy. Come on, Thunder. Now, did I establish with you, Jumpy, are you Jumpy or J Humpy? I can't recall if we've had this conversation or not. Charlie V, ahoy. Let's go, Thunder. Let's go. 8 for 145. Ollie Davies was out for 10. What about Super Rugby? Who's my favourite? Oh, Ferguson. Just lofts this in the air. Super Rugby, I go for... Well, Australian team, I go for the Queensland Reds. Swepson floats this one up. Christian goes after it. Almost picks out Matt Renshaw in the outfield. Keeps it to just the single. Well fielded in the end there by Renshaw. That nearly got away from him. Yeah, Ollie Davies promoted up the order tonight to open the batting with David Warner. And he got himself out in the power play overs for just 10. Dan Christian to face the last ball here from Swepson. A slower ball, banged in a little shorter. Just the single to finish. So Swepson did extremely well, considering he went for 17 runs, I'm pretty sure it was. 17 runs off his first over. He has ended up with, run-wise, giving up less than Spencer Johnson has. But, of course, he does not have the wickets that Spencer Johnson got to go along with it. So there is that to bear in mind as well. Dan Christian filling in because of injuries. Absolutely, the injuries to Cameron Bancroft and Daniel Sams. Cameron Bancroft, as we learnt tonight, is out for the season. And Daniel Sams will be out for the next 4 games. This one included. So 3 more games after this one. Xavier Bartlett back into the attack now to bowl his last over. Dan Christian on strike. Goes after this one. And that could be 6. It is 6. 2 tiers back into the grandstand. Dan Christian has taken on Xavier Bartlett and won with a big 6. 92 metres. And Xavier Bartlett served that one up on a platter. Eight for 155. This is now at least something to bowl at for the Sydney Thunder. This is the thing, like, they've lost wickets, obviously, 8 wickets down, but they've also managed to keep that run rate above 7 and over, 8 and over. Wide outside off, Christian chases it. Just slaps it back down the ground to long off for a single. If Dan Christian can get hold of deliveries like that one, 170's not out of the equation as well. 170 plus, which would be massive. Considering the situation they were in. And that's the key. Like, you lose wickets, but if you keep that run rate moving along. Ferguson can't get hold of that one. Takes on Michael Neser, I think it is, there at mid-on. Took him on. They were always coming through for that one, it seems, to get Christian back on strike. So I would say slight advantage in favour of the Brisbane Heat here at the moment. But they've given themselves something to bowl at here. The Thunder, as Christian gets hot, gets this one off the top edge, all the way down to the fine leg boundary and beyond. It's another 6. Well, Dan Christian, the veteran, putting on a clinic of at the death batting here. And they are not by any stretch of the imagination out of this game, the Sydney Thunder. This is becoming a good defendable score. Xavier Bartlett now panics, overcompensates, and sends it way wide on the offside. It's Dan Christian's first game this BBL. Absolutely. Bartlett. Wide outside off again. Christian could have let that one go too. Just a single down to long off. Christian goes to 20 off 11. 8 for 165. And suddenly this score ain't looking half bad. Logan, thank you very much for the likes. Very much appreciate that, mate. Bartlett in, slower ball. Whoa! And he's tried to take the batsman's head off. He's immediately apologised for it. Xavier Bartlett in frustration there, throwing the ball back. And he's nearly wiped out poor Lockie Ferguson. 8 for 165 it is. And the Brisbane Heat at the moment just doing what the Brisbane Heat have done in BBL 14 so far. And that is the foot spin on the throat. They've had the opposition on the ropes and just let them off, and off to a score they get. Gina Ferracini, ahoy! Guess what I had for dinner, Gina Ferracini? I had lasagna. A 3-cheese lasagna with extra meat. All right. The final over, and the Brisbane Heat are behind their over rate. Extra man up inside the circle. Michael Neser to bowl the last. Christian backs away. Slower ball beats him. And it's over the top of the stumps. Brizzy Lions says, do you reckon New Zealand should get a BBL team? I don't think it's really necessary, Brizzy Lions. The question has been asked enough in the chat rooms, though. Like, that question pops up quite frequently in the chats. So, Nessa, again, slower ball outside off. Christian, up in the air, racing back for it was Jack Wood. Dives with an outstretched left hand and can't bring it in. Dan Christian, the key here to a monstrous score for the Thunder. Well, to be perfectly honest, the way that they started, this is still becoming quite a big score. 8 for 167. They've recovered nicely, despite the wickets constantly falling. Nessa, full, maybe too full. Is it called a no ball? Christian appealing to the umpire here. Well, we saw a no ball called for one that wasn't even... He's looking at both umpires here, Dan Christian. No call. Well, I've got to say that was more above waist height than the bloody one that was called. Getting away with that one anyway. Nessa, slower ball, bangs it in short. Christian backs away. Thinking about two. But just the one out to Matt Renshaw there at point. Two balls left. Ferguson backs away and scoops this one over mid-off for 4. 4 crucial runs there for Lockie Ferguson, especially since Dan Christian is stuck down the non-striker's end. And the Brisbane Heat, well, there is absolutely no way that the Sydney Thunder should have got up this high. 8 for 172. The last ball, Nisa, slower ball, beats the bat, and they come through for a leg bye to finish. 8 for 173. Well, it's probably the score that they were looking likely to get at the start of the innings. But then the Brisbane Heat pulled them back big time. And they should have never got up to this score in the end. Incredible, really. Well done for the Sydney Thunder, losing wickets constantly throughout that innings, but still keeping the run rate up. And the Brisbane Heat need to chase 174 to win, and that is not going to be an easy task. Let's be honest. That is no easy chase. So the Thunder have done extremely well here in the end. And we've still got game on. I would say, though, that slight favoritism to the home side. Let's see if the bookmakers agree with me. Does Sportsbet agree with my sentiments there? Oh, no, they do not. They absolutely disagree with me. The Sydney Thunder are huge short price favourites now to win this game with the bookmakers. $1.68 to the Brisbane Heat's $2.15. Wow. Very, very interesting. Okay, so just going back to, we can field some questions now without the distraction of a game going on in front of us. But the question comes up a lot about a New Zealand team in the Big Bash. And the thing, like New Zealand have got their own version of the Big Bash that's going on at the moment. So I think for that reason alone, it will never happen. Well, never say never, but I think for that reason, it won't happen anytime soon because New Zealand are not going to want to interrupt their own tournament. I mean, they've already lost some players as it is. You know, Colin Munro's over here, Finn Allen's over here, and just to name a couple. So there's already some Kiwi internationals running around in the Big Bash League. I think a New Zealand team in the Big Bash would just open that up even further, and that would have a very negative effect on their own T20 tournament that, as I said, is currently happening right now as we speak. But outside of that, probably not really necessary. I think Australian cricket is doing just fine. Like, we love our NRL here on the Wasted Water Sports. The NRL is the main sport that we cover on the channel. But let's be honest, the NRL is not really a true national sport. Let's be brutally honest about that. The NRL needs the New Zealand team in there. New Zealand Rugby League needs inclusion in there because New Zealand's a rugby union nation. You see what I'm saying? So logistically and everything, it makes sense. It's a partnership made in heaven for the rugby league to join forces. In cricket, I just don't think it's really all that necessary. And as I said, that's ignoring the fact that, New Zealand have got their own competition that they're trying to build. So they wouldn't want to lose players by having a team in the Big Bash. Any more players than they already have. That's the problem at the moment, really, that a lot of the T20 leagues are facing. The IPL is obviously, that's the big one. That's where every T20 player aspires to get. You want to play in an IPL team. You want to get picked up at auction and make the big bucks. That's what they all aspire to. And more leagues popping up around the world. It just spreads that player base out. Excuse me. Anyway. And I would also take a big. I talk about this in the NRL as well, because obviously the NRL is looking at expanding, and I feel like they're right on the verge of over expansion. You don't want to go too far. There's still room to move for Big Bash because there are. There's not an overkill of teams in the Big Bash League. But whenever we talk about expansion for any sport, I always think of using Super Rugby as an example of how expansion killed the competition. Over expansion killed the competition. So you've got to be smart about it. And it requires a lot of thought and a lot of planning before considering expansion. And I think they've done the right thing. Like the Big Bash League, to me, felt like it just dragged on a little too long. So Cricket Australia's done the right thing, in my opinion, and they've pulled that back. Teams are only playing 10 matches in BBL 14. So they have completely rolled back the scheduling. We're not getting an overkill of matches. I think that's a smart idea. And yeah, they would have to keep that in mind as well, that expanding the teams means more games or teams not playing each other, which is what we get in the NRL now. The NRL draw is so unbalanced. Not everybody plays everybody twice, and some teams get extremely lucky and they play the bottom teams twice. Some teams get very unlucky and they have to play the Melbourne Storm and the Penrith Panthers twice. Yeah, there's lots of reasons for not expanding the Big Bash League. Quite frankly, I think it's fine just the way it is. Personally. Jaden Rati, ahoy there, mate. Welcome along. 8 for 173 here. The Sydney Thunder have set the score, and what a score it is. Well, the bookmakers, Sportsbet, have got the Sydney Thunder now red-hot, raging favourites. I still think a very chaseable score for the Brisbane Heat. I don't think it's as unbalanced as they're suggesting, but we'll find out very, very shortly, won't we? As the run chase to soon commence. An important game, much more important game for the Brisbane Heat than it is for the Thunder, to be perfectly honest. It's a critical win for the Heat in their title defense if it's going to happen. A very, very important run chase coming up. All right. Jesus. Okay. 174 to win for the Brisbane Heat. Can they get the job done? We'll find out shortly. I'll have a quick break and be back for the run chase. Oh, God, they're talking about the Ashes now on the TV. The Ashes series. Let's be honest, are England any chance in the Ashes? Honestly. Dan Christian, welcome back, sir. Saving the day. All right, Waste World of Sports, the run chase will commence shortly. And have a quick break and be right back after this. Yeah, and yes, Lockie Bragger, Colin Munro, better do something. I actually really like the look of the Brisbane Heat lineup for this game. I don't think Colin Munro as captain, though, is working out. Yeah, I don't think Colin Munro is really a captain. Some interesting choices. Now, here's what I was thinking. I really like the balance in the team, right? Because it felt like Xavier Bartlett and Spencer Johnson are doing all the heavy lifting, right, for the Heat bowlers. Tall Paul, God bless him, he seems like a nice guy. Shit cricketer. Well, this year anyway, but seems like a nice guy, but he was getting absolutely tonked. The less I say about Wildermuth, the better. Swepson and Kuhneman have not been in the greatest of form. So it felt like it was Xavier Bartlett and Spencer Johnson have to do all the heavy lifting or no chance. It was good to have Michael Neser back because my thought was, great, Michael Neser, also a frontline bowler. Xavier Bartlett and Spencer Johnson are now going to have some assistance and we can keep the pressure on after they've bowled their initial overs. It's not Bartlett, brilliant over. Johnson, brilliant over. Okay, Paul Walter, 17 runs from it. You know what I mean? But for some reason, and I don't quite understand, and this is where I question Colin Munro's captaincy, Xavier Bartlett opens the bowling. Good over. Well, actually, Michael Neser opened the bowling tonight. I thought we would have had Xavier Bartlett continue to open the bowling. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Xavier Bartlett keeps opening the bowling with Spencer Johnson in tandem. And then, rather than going to Paul Walter and the foot comes off the throat, then Michael Neser returning comes in and has a bowl. But that's not what happened, is it? No, what happened was Michael Neser opened the bowling, did an okay job. His first over, a couple of looseners to start, but you expect that. Then Xavier Bartlett was down the other end, did extremely well. And then do you think we went for Spencer Johnson to keep the pressure on? No. In comes Kuhneman. In comes Swepson. Swepson gets taken for 17 off his first over. And suddenly David Warner and Jilks are right on top for the Thunder. The foot was taken off the throat. Again. It's frustrating to be a Brisbane Heat supporter. It really is. It really, really is. Tim Peters, ahoy there. So I don't know what's happened to Jimmy Pearson, to be honest. I don't know if he's injured. I don't know why he has fallen out of favour if he's not injured. I don't really know what he's done wrong to be dropped. Lockie Bragger says Pearson failed 4 games in a row. Max Bryant's been failing for 4 years in a row, and he's still there. That's a little unfair, I know. That was nasty. I shouldn't have said that. I mean, it's true, but I still shouldn't have said it. Mitchell Vellasport, ahoy, mate. No more 6 in the Heat innings. Huh? What do you mean, Mitchell Vellasport? No more 6 in the Heat innings. Danielson, 14. Need Thunder for a multi. Well, quite frankly, I personally had the Brisbane Heat even though they let the Thunder get a lot more runs than they should have, I still had the Heat slightly ahead. Sportsbet does not agree with me at all, though. Sportsbet has got the Sydney Thunder pretty much unbackable favourites from here. As Jack Wood takes the first ball, and he just fends it away to the offside for no run. Interesting here. These are part of the changes. Jack Wood to open the batting with Colin Munro. I mean, this is make or break stuff, really, isn't it? Yeah, I think Banton has probably gone back as Wood doesn't get hold of it, but he pulls it away just enough to get over the top of the circle, and they come back for two. And the Heat are off and running. I think Banton has gone back. Yeah. Yeah, because I remember hearing something about... Because I raise this question every single year of like... Do you know what makes the Perth Scorchers and the Sydney Sixers so consistently good? As Wood has a big slash at this outside off. What makes the Perth Scorchers and the Sydney Sixers so consistently good is that they build a team for the Big Bash tournament. The Brisbane Heat traditionally have signed players that are never around for the entirety of the competition. As Ferguson puts a beautiful in-swinging Yorker right up on the stumps. Wood comes up with nothing but air. He's been clean bowled, and it is now Sydney Thunder, understandably now, unbackable favourites with that early wicket. What the hell was that from Jack Wood? He is trying to loft square drive down to long on a ball that was full and on off stump. He had no idea what was coming at him there. No idea. That might be the single worst cricket shot I've ever seen attempted. It really, really might be. That was really poor. Early breakthrough for the Sydney Thunder. And Nathan McSweeney now out to the crease. Well, Jack Wood didn't even bowl. And he's now gone for a very cheap score. What was even the point of him? What was even the point of him? It makes no sense. King Gutherino. Heat better not be crap again. Well, I'm afraid they are. They have not started very well. Not good at all. Beautiful delivery from Ferguson, though. Let's not take anything away from that. Ferguson, last ball of his opening over. It's been a perler. And another beautiful in-swinger there to McSweeney. It just turns it away for no run. And a solid start here for the Sydney Thunder. What a start indeed. The early wicket of Wood. Lockie Braga says Uzi in for Wood next game and Marnus in for Munro. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see when the internationals get to come back. Wes Agar now into the bowling attack. Oh, they're back next game. Mark War just said. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. We need them back as Munro's beaten on the outside edge. And Wes Agar is on point immediately. That is incredible. Lockie Mack says Munro won't get dropped. He's our international and signed him for a 3-year deal. Ah, 3 years? Okay, so basically we're not winning the tournament again for at least 3 years. Good to know. Very good to know. Munro took offense to my statement as he rocks onto the back foot and just pulls this away. Square of the wicket for 4. Oh, well, honestly, if I say something that wakes him up, I'm all for it. 1 for 6. The worst possible start here for the Heat. Agar in again. Munro slashes after this one outside off stump. Gets the top edge. And it's away for 4. Barry Kane, 23. Ahoy there, mate. I actually like your setup. Cool. Cheers, Barry. Very good to know. I'm always open to suggestions for ongoing improvements as well. TikTok's just difficult, right? Because TikTok's got very limited screen space. Like on YouTube, I've got crap everywhere. As Munro's chopped in half this time. When you first scroll onto your video, it says Scorchers versus Heat as the background. Interesting. I don't know why it would be saying that. Agar tempts Munro into a cut at this, and nothing but air outside off stump. Another dot ball. But yes, Waste World of Sports live on YouTube, live on TikTok, and soon to be once again live on Twitch and Facebook. But obviously the YouTube's got so much more screen real estate. So I've got like stats and stuff everywhere that you can't have on TikTok easily. As Munro now cuts this one away, but there is protection out there at backward point. And just a single to finish. 9 runs off that over. And Colin Munro. Barry Kane on Facebook. Waste World of Sports everywhere, basically. I think no matter the social media platform, Wasted World of Sports should bring us up. And I suppose the thing to look for is the our beer badge logo in the avatar. Cameron needs McSweeney for 20. What the hell trophy is that? Did somebody in the chat room? I'm not sure if this is a serious question or an attempt at trolling. Why you breathe like that? Because I need to breathe in order to continue living, basically. Breathing is a very crucial part of the human species' existence. Ferguson, good start for him, 1 for 2, and he starts with a banger of a dot ball here. Draws the outside edge from Munro, and it's dropped in the slips. Munro's given a life. Ferguson is bowling so well here. Draws the outside edge. And with an outstretched left hand, could not be reeled in by the slip fielder. Who's that there? Couldn't quite make him out. Oh, it's Ollie Davies in the slips. McSweeney fends away to the offside for no run. And it's a 1 for 12 here. 2.3 overs gone. I don't understand why, like, it feels like all the teams that I go for have sign-in and retention problems. Like, like the Brisbane Heat, we just found out, have signed Colin Munro for 3 seasons as our international player. As McSweeney is squared up, just misses the outside edge. I go for the Sharks in the NRL, and the Sharks signed Nico Hines for like 6 years or something. I think they've got Nico Hines locked up till 2029. Like, why do the teams I support keep signing unproven failures of players for long-term contracts? Ferguson bowling well, just another single down to mid-on. And 1 ball left. They just can't get him away at the moment. And Munro scoops this one up in the air, and it's just short of the man at backward point. Another good over from Ferguson. Only 3 runs from it. And it's 1 for 14 here after 3. And the Brisbane Heat just forced into... oh, God, what's the word? Just forced into... consolidating their innings here. Rebuilding after the early wicket. Wood into the squad for big, tall Paul. But honestly, he didn't bowl, and he got out cheaply. So what was the point of him? May as well have just stuck with Paul Walter. Dan Christian has got the ball. Well, this could be the over. This could be the over that they target. They being the Brisbane Heat. Dan Christian, the veteran, to Colin Munro. And they do target. He just flat bat powers him over long off. But it holds up in the turf. And they come back for 2. So this could be the over they target. If Dan Christian can get the wicket, huge for the Sydney Thunder. It's an interesting... Like, this is a lot to ask of... I realise Dan Christian, a very experienced campaigner, has been around the traps for a long time, and Munro pulls him away. There's protection out there on the square leg boundary, just the single. He's been there, done it, is basically what I'm saying. I'm sure that he himself is quite comfortable, but he's... we know that he's getting on a little bit. We know that he is only in the squad because of injuries. I would have to go after him, surely. You would think. 157 runs needed off 100 balls. Barry Kane, thank you very much for the follow on Facebook. Yeah, Facebook, we actually have to pay to stream on Facebook, so I do it for the NRL because we've got a proven following. For the NRL, I wasn't willing to make that investment for the BBL though, because this is our first time doing the BBL, so I wasn't sure how it would go. If that all makes sense. But thank you very much for that, Barry Kane, the follow over there on Facebook. Christian, 5 off this over so far. Slower ball. McSweeney just fends it away to the offside. I don't do the AFL personally, Barry, but my sometimes co-host, Michelle, big AFL fan. So we have discussed the possibility of her doing some of the AFL in season 2025. When it doesn't clash with other stuff, as McSweeney gets the inside edge past the keeper for 4. And I've got to say, a much needed for the Brisbane Heat. And we saw that a couple of times in the Thunder's innings as well. Edges back past the keeper or over the top of the slips. Or a short third man. And the Brisbane Heat have chimed in with one now as well. 151 needed off 97. Now goes the scoop shot. The ramp. McSweeney straight to the keeper. And we sure as hell saw that in the Sydney Thunder innings. And the Brisbane Heat are self-destructing here. Dan Christian with the wicket. McSweeney's gone for the ramp and just straight to the keeper. Billings takes an easy catch. It was a training day there for Billings. Wow, that was just crazy. This is the Brisbane Heat of old. This is the Brisbane Heat of the Bash Brothers days, where there was just no logic or common sense to their batting. Structure in a run chase was completely non-existent. McSweeney's thrown his wicket away, and they are under big pressure now, the Heat. Winning the toss and electing to field. Last year, proving to be just a blip on the radar. Matt Renshaw. Well, maybe we'll see a little bit of common sense from Renshaw. Let's find out. 2 for 23. That is a shocking power play. That might be the worst power play of BBL 14 so far by any team. It's certainly the worst that the Brisbane Heat have done. As Green now into the attack, and Munro launches him straight down the ground onto the protective vinyl behind the sight screen for 6. That's a big hit. We saw Swepson get taken to the cleaners. Munro might be targeting Green here and saying, we'll do the same. 2 for 29. And a dot ball. A good reply, that one, from Green. Two for 29. Beautifully bowled again. Munro just has to fend this one away to the offside. No run. Beautifully bowled again, Green. Okay, so Green got absolutely tonked on that first ball. But he comes back at him with 3 dots. 6.21, the current run rate. Needing 9.46 and over to win. Munro's 20 or 15. Has a big slash at this outside off stump. 4 dot balls in a row. After the opening 6, 4 dot balls in a row. Will Main, ahoy mate. How are you? Green with his last ball. Drops it in a little shorter. And this one's pushed away for a single to finish 7 from the over. Munro goes to 21. And it's the Sydney Thunder, though, on top. They finished their innings with all the momentum. And now they've started this defense of their total quite well. Dan Christian, why not? Give the man another over. 5 overs gone. It's 2 for 30. Christian got McSweeney. Munro just fends it off the hip. No run. $144 needed off 89. They've just got to watch that required run rate. See what the Sydney Thunder did extremely well. They were losing wickets consistently throughout their innings, but we talked about it. We talked about how they kept the run rate up. The Brisbane Heat are losing wickets, and they're just being ground down. They're not scoring runs. Jocker McSweeney, the goof, tried to ramp, and all he did was hit it straight, chest high, to Sam Billings behind the stumps. Because if you're going to play the ramp shot, right, obviously you want to get under the ball and lift it up into the air. It was just fielding practice for Sam Billings behind the stumps. Waist height, straight into his gloves. Ridiculous shot. 2 for 30. 5.3 overs gone. Christian starts with 3 dot balls. Munro pulls this one away for just 1 out to mid-wicket. How are you, Will? Will Main. Lockie Bragger. It's like, that's the way, Munro. Just block a 4-year-old who has retired. For 1 run off the over. Renshaw can't get hold of it as well. They're not getting to the pace of Dan Christian here. Yes, those words did just come out of my mouth. They can't get to the pace of Dan Christian here, or lack thereof, as it were. Zach 2020, do I think they can get the runs? Bloody hell, the way they're going at the moment, they'll be bowled out for under 100. Winning the toss, selecting to field, and really let the bowling. They really let the Sydney Thunder off the hook. The Sydney Thunder should never have got a total above 150, basically, let alone the almost 180 that they got. It was some really poor bowling at the death there, and the Sydney Thunder did well. They batted well to recover and get the score up that high. And now they've started bowling extremely well. 2 for 31. The Brisbane Heat under immense pressure here. Two for 32 after 6. 142 needed off 84 balls. Andrews into the bowling attack. Well, I suppose, what we've seen is if you can get a partnership together, the runs will start to flow quite quickly. Renshaw dances down the pitch at him, scoops him into the gap. They'll come back for 2. And that's a good start to the over. That's all they don't need to panic here, really, the Heat. They don't need to panic. Just get those ones and twos. Get yourself. Oh, God. Renshaw steps back, chops it down into his own toes, and it's a dot ball. McSweeney got himself out very cheaply. They needed a big innings from him. They needed an anchor innings. And he got himself out for... I'll tell you in a second. 7. Got himself out for 7. And 2 dot balls now for Andrews. And Renshaw edges it. Back behind the stumps for another dot ball. 3 dot balls in a row. No offense to Andrews, but like these are the overs. They need to be getting runs. But the Thunder are just tightening them up. Renshaw charges. Pushes it down to long off, but just a single. The required run rate is now getting out of hand. 10.56 and over. And this is just atrocious. It really is. It was poor bowling to finish their innings, and now it's just really horrible batting. And Munro can't get hold of it. Can't even see it. A dot ball to finish for Andrews. None for 3 off his first over. And this has gotten out of hand very, very quickly for the Brisbane Heat. What's that episode of The Simpsons where Grandpa Simpson, were they playing baseball? Can't remember what sport they were playing anyway, but Homer's out there. Little Homer's out there. And Grandpa Simpson's in the crowd, and he's like, "You're going to screw up." And Homer's like, "Huh? What?" Grandpa's, that's what I get for having faith in you. Well, this is what I get for having faith in the Brisbane Heat. As they come back for 2 here to start this Chris Green over. Two for 37. 2 for 37. 7.1 overs gone. Wow, this is atrocious. This is really, really bad. Green, and again, Renshaw pulls him away into the gap. Can't beat a sliding Jilks out there, I think it is. And another 2 runs. 135 needed off 76. And just struggling to get to the pace of the balls at the moment here. It would seem the Heat. Green floats this one up. Could be another 2. Renshaw will settle for 1, though, I think, on this occasion. Just the single. That required run rate now getting dangerously close to 11. It's up to 10.72. Green to Munro. Munro just punches it back to the bowler for no run. He's 22 runs off 22 balls. Colin Munro. I mean, he's really got to start getting a move along, to be honest. 2 balls left. Munro back in the crease. Turns it away to the onside for 1. 6 runs from this over so far from Green. .133 needed off 73. Final ball of this Chris Green over. Turned away from Renshaw for 1. Maybe wants 2. No, just the 1. Keeping it to just the single. Well fielded. 2 for 42, 8 overs gone. The worst possible start imaginable for the Brisbane Heat. As the Thunder just keeping them well and truly under wraps at the moment. Well and truly in control. You go for the... Ahoy there. Welcome along. And you go for the Stars. Very nice. Andrews. This is the over. They've got a target. Yeah, the batsman just not getting to him as Renshaw looks to flick it off the pads. Jocker goes for the strikers. Very nice. Support for all teams out there in the chat room. Leg buys there. 5.27 the current run rate, 11.07 required. Munro's decided to go, doesn't get hold of that at all. Picks out Davies down there at long on. And Colin Munro, 23 of 24. 3 for 43 it is. Colin Munro's gone after getting himself a start. And the Sydney Thunder well and truly on top here. And the Brisbane Heat, their season is on the brink. Ham and cheese, ahoy! The Brisbane Heat's title defense hanging by a thread. But the problem at the moment, the Sydney Thunder are holding the scissors. And right now, they've got the scissors right over that thread. And they're only a wicket or two away from chopping it. Ham and cheese, if you've been here before, you can't remember. Well, you knew enough to say ahoy upon entering the chat room. So that alone, apart from recognizing the name Ham and Cheese, the fact that you said ahoy upon entering the chat room suggests you absolutely have. I remember the username Ham and Cheese because it made me very hungry for a ham and cheese toasty. Max Bryant now out to the crease, cuts it away for one, and he's off the mark immediately. 3 for 44. This has been a disaster for the Brisbane Heat. Wide down the leg side. That's a harsh call on Andrews. Renshaw, 10 of 12. The difference between the two teams at the moment is the Thunder were losing wickets, but they kept scoring runs at a very high rate. The Brisbane Heat have been losing wickets on the regular, but losing the wickets has really kept them under restraint. Three for 46. Bryant can't beat the fielder, and a dot ball. Andrews is bowling extremely well. 1 for 6 off his 1.5 overs. Bryant back in the crease. Cuts away for the single. 5 runs from the over is absolutely fine. Andrews 1 for 7 off his 2 overs. Brisbane Heat in dire straits here. That required run rate is getting up around 12 and over. I'm just astonished at how quickly this all got out of hand for the home side. Well, I shouldn't be surprised. Really? Yes, it's on Channel 7. Just the regular Channel 7. Oh, which is 7 Plus. 7 Plus is the app, isn't it? Yes. 3 for 47 here, the Heat. Chris Green into the bowling attack again. None for 14 off his 2. And, I mean, they're going to have to throw caution to the wind at some point here, the Heat. Bryant turns it away, fine on the leg side, and they take a quick single. Renshaw dives at the keeper's end. Thoughts on the Stars making the finals? Well, it's well and truly possible. Absolutely possible. Renshaw looks to sweep. Doesn't get hold of it. Three for 48. 126 needed off 64. Green to Renshaw. Down to long on. They push for 2. And that's well run. But they need more than that. That required run rate drifting up towards 12. David says if Tom Alsop gets a decent number of balls, he could unleash. Swing and a miss at this one. Renshaw. Green appeals, but I think it's hit him outside the line. And it's off the edge as well, says the umpire. 2 runs off the bat. Oh, no, that was just a single. Just a single, that one. Max Bryant on strike. 2 balls left here for Green. He's bowled well again. again. Bryant rocks onto the back foot, pulls it away. Protection out there at deep square leg. And it's just the one. Three for 52. The required run rate now is up at 12. This has gotten so far out of hand now for the Brisbane Heat. They've got to try something here. The Heat, I reckon, oh, God. They've almost got to take the power surge. They pretty much have to take the power surge, you feel like, because they need to do something here, the Heat, to try and swing the momentum back in their favour. And taking the power surge is one way to go about that. Do I think they will? Probably not, because nothing that the Brisbane Heat have done in BBL 14 so far makes any sense. So they probably won't. I'm just saying I would. May as well go for it. Try and... They're not going to win this game just by paddling 1s and 2s. They've got to be proactive here and you know, Renshaw and Bryant. Call the power surge. If they can get 15 and over off the surge overs, suddenly things don't look that bad. See, that's what I would do anyway. Josh Field, ahoy, mate. Who are we thinking for winning this BBL Grand Final? I mean, the Sydney Sixers are looking good. The Scorchers are looking okay. I like the look of the Hurricanes. The Stars are still not out of it. I think the Renegades have the Renegades and the Heat have both sort of fallen off a cliff. What footy team do I go for? I go for the Sharks. Another shit team. Have they? Oh, they've called the power surge. The power surge has been called. Well, look, I think this is smart because they have to try something. They've got to try and turn the momentum in this game. There's no point just paddling around ones for the next bloody 6 overs. The game would be well and truly out of control. They have to try. And look, if you lose your wickets and don't get on top during these power surge overs, then, I mean, at least you've tried something. You've tried to be proactive with 2 legitimate big hitting batsmen at the crease. And Wes Agar to bowl the first of the surge overs. Renshaw on strike. Drifting onto the pads, and Renshaw starts with a boundary. Gets it fine and beats the man at backward point. The best possible start there for the Heat. Renshaw glances it away for 4. Beautiful shot. Three for 57. Can they keep it up now, though, the Heat? Renshaw, 19 off 18. Agar drifts onto the pads again. He could have almost left it go through for a wide, but he's beautifully played this away. Down to deep square leg for 4. Back-to-back boundaries, and exactly what the doctor ordered here for the Brisbane Heat. They had to take the chance. They had to go for the surge early. Back-to-back 4s here for Renshaw. A dream start. Agar. Full and on the pads again. Turned away. Just the single. Didn't quite time it. Didn't get it into the gap. Three for 62. Now Max Bryant needs to put this one in the stands. Agar races in. It's wide outside off. And Max Bryant lifts it over the top of short third man. And it bounces over the rope for 4. Well, this is a fabulous over for the Brisbane Heat. Boy, did they need this. Well played there, Maxi Bryant. 13 runs off this over so far. This is the sort of over they needed. Agar under pressure. Half volley, and Bryant spanks it down the ground. Has he got enough on it? Yes, he does. Max Bryant with a 6 over long off, and this is now a monstrous over. 19 runs from it. And there's still a ball to go. 75 metres straight down the ground. Max Bryant. That was right in the zone. A half volley right on off stump. Batting practice for Max Bryant. Final ball here of the opening over of the surge. Agar wide outside off. Could have been left. Bryant chops it away for 1. What's that? 6, 10, 14, 18, 20 off that over. A dream start to the power surge. Where's Agar? Some poor bowling, it must be said. 3 for 73. 101 runs to go. Bloody hell. Oh, big call here for the Thunder. Lockie Ferguson to bowl. And Max Bryant beats the man at backward point for 4. Here they come, the Brisbane Heat. Well, this is a big call. Going for Lockie Ferguson, it makes sense. He's been the best bowler far and away for the Thunder so far. Max Bryant, 19 off 9, and they're just slowing things down now, the Thunder. Sam Billings needs his shoelaces tied up. They're just trying to stem the flow here a bit. Ferguson into Bryant. Slower ball, beats him. Well bowled. Slower ball, just short of the length. Gets up around chest height. And Max Bryant goes the cut. Can't get hold of it. 3 for 77. This game is starting to get interesting again. Ferguson, Bryant steps back in the crease to give himself some room. They're racing through for a single. And leg buys there. Renshaw gets back on strike now. This was such a good call for the Thunder to bring Ferguson back on. They've probably used him a little earlier than they would have wanted to. But they do have to try and dry up this second over of the surge a little bit. That first one, it went for plenty. It was a bold call. Is David Warner the captain of the Thunder? It was a bold call. A sensible call. It was bold nonetheless. Renshaw goes after this one. Can't get hold of it. Three for 79. Joey B. I think the Thunder are still on top here, I would say. As Bryant lifts Ferguson over the top of the fence for 6. Straight down the ground. Crucial runs against Lockie Ferguson here. A slower delivery right in the hitting arc. And Max Bryant, 84 meters over the long off fence for 6. 6 crucial runs. Ferguson was brought in to try and stem the flow. And now it's a full toss. Is it over waist height? No. And he finishes with a dot. 12 off that over. 32 runs off the power surge. The required run rate is still 11.12. And that was the problem the Brisbane Heat got themselves into. 32 runs off the previous 2 overs. And it still hasn't really made a dent in that required run rate. So far behind they were. So far behind. Three for 85. 89 needed or 48 balls. Andrews back into the attack. Dancing down the pitch at him as Renshaw and lifts him square on the leg side for 6. Renshaw has decided We are just going to keep on going here. Dancing down the wicket at Andrews and scoops him over deep mid-wicket for 6. And that's a good start to the over. And he goes again. Doesn't get hold of it, though. And straight to the man at short fine leg for a dot ball. Good reply from Andrews. 3 for 91. Renshaw goes the reverse sweep. Gets under it. Top edges it just behind a diving Billings. Well, it's all happening out there, as they say. It's all happening. And they go through for the single. Billings with a desperate dive at that. Max Bryant and Renshaw here batting extremely well. I follow back 88. Ahoy there, mate. How many did Munro score? I think he got 23 of 22 balls and then got himself out like a great big goof as Max Bryant pulls this away. Square of the wicket for 4. It beats the man diving across the boundary there to try and cut off the 4. Out to the square leg fence for 4. $11 off this over. Bryant goes again, punches it down the ground, but the man is back at long off. Marcus Rogers says, what did I say? I think you said Max Bryant to save the day again. The required run rate's been pulled in under 11. Renshaw lifts this one out to the square leg fence for 4. That is a beautiful shot. 16 runs off this over now. And it is the Matt Renshaw and Max Bryant show at the moment. Sydney Thunder now suddenly, for the first time in this bowling innings, are feeling a little bit of a pinch, a little bit of pressure. Now, let's see what this does to the odds. Do Sportsbet have any faith in the Brisbane Heat from here? Yes, they do. The Brisbane Heat, $1.95. The Sydney Thunder still slightly ahead at $1.86. But that has evened up so much. Remember, at the innings break, the Sydney Thunder were unbackable. And the Brisbane Heat were long shot outsiders. And then the early wickets. And the Brisbane Heat have pulled it right back here. Three for 101. Dan Christian to bowl his third over. He's bowled extremely well so far to answer that question for I Follow Back. 1 for 11 off his 2 so far, and he starts with a dot ball. Dan Christian starts with a dot in his third over. He's bowling extremely well here, the veteran. Drifts onto the pads here. And Bryant turns it off for the hip for 1. Ningle says Stars are making the finals. Well, they might. How's this for a bold prediction? I reckon the Stars do not lose another game now. I reckon they go undefeated for the rest of the tournament. Renshaw gets an under edge back past his pads. Out to fine leg there. Why do I say that? Oh, no, you're talking ham and cheese. Christian, just 2 singles off this over so far and another dot ball. Well, this is good bowling. Dan Christian, the veteran, And the Brisbane Heat have blown back out now to $2.30 on the back of this over. Dan Christian bowling extremely well. Bryant pushing for 2 here. On the leg side, they come back, and that's well run. This over from Dan Christian, though, just pulls things back in the Thunder's favour. The required run rate drifting out beyond 11 again. Final ball of Christian's third over. Slower ball right on the toes. And Bryant can only turn it away for 1. Extremely well bowled. Dan Christian, 3 overs, 1 for 16. The Brisbane Heat, 3 for 106. Sydney Thunder still slightly ahead despite that power. They should have given the ball to Dan Christian in the power surge, I reckon. That would have kept control of things. He's bowled extremely well. He was also very influential in the Thunder setting a target in the first place. Wes Agar now back into the attack. 14 overs gone. 3 for 106. Agar, none for 29. He got absolutely smoked in that opening power surge. Marcus Rogers asks who I think will win the NRL Grand Final. I think this year is Melbourne Storm, and probably against the Panthers again in the Grand Final. Off the bottom edge, beats the keeper, racing away, but fielded by Dan Christian. And they come back for 2. You go for the Storm. Nice. Well, an early congratulations. $66 needed or 35 balls. With 7 wickets still in the dugout. It is still game on here. Sam, ahoy, welcome along. Agar, way wide outside off stump. That's a monstrous wide. Geez, did that even land on the pitch? They've got to have a closer look at that. They've got to have a closer look at that. I love to jinx things, Marcus Rogers. Agar in again. Big swing and a miss here from Max Bryant. He went all out for that. Maxie Bryant was trying to hit this back to Sydney. Four balls left in this over from Agar, who just lost his way a little bit on the back of that surge. Bryant lifts this one up into the sky. Has he got enough on it? Yes, he does. It's into the first here. And Max Bryant got all of that. He had a little bit of a he had a little bit of an all or nothing hoik at the last one, but that was a lot more controlled. 106 metres over the deep square leg fence for a big 6. Baz, ahoy there. Welcome along, mate. Up the Canes. Agar. 9 off this over so far. Bryant goes again. And it finds the gap. And it finds the rope at long on. Well, Max Bryant, 42 of 23. 46, sorry, now off 24, and he gets another boundary. And this is another big over against Wes Agar, who has no answers at the moment. Wes Agar, none for 42 of 2.4 overs. Have we ever seen Wes Agar just taken to task like this? 2 balls left. Bryant. That's full toss. That's 2 full. And surely a no ball for above waist height. There's a free hit incoming. And this is all going to hell in a handbasket for the Sydney Thunder. Wes Agar is not having a good night out. Called for height. And the Brisbane Heat not only have the no ball, they have a free hit. Bryant took the single, so he's down the non-striker's end. Wes Agar to Matt Renshaw. Free hit. None for 44 of 2.4 overs. Honestly, at the start of this game, if you said to me, Wes Agar was the bowler who's going to get taken to task, I would have called you crazy. Agar in. Free hit. Top edge from Renshaw behind the keeper for 4. Everything is coming up Millhouse here for the Brisbane Heat. Suddenly, all on the back of that power surge. Renshaw moves to 41. Maxi Bryant's on 47. And the Brisbane Heat are absolutely steamrolling the back end of this run chase. None for 48 of 2.5 overs for poor Wes Agar. And a swing and a miss for Renshaw to finish. He got a little bit excited there. Renshaw. 3 for 125. 49 of 30 balls. Suddenly, the Brisbane Heat have rescued this to a point where that looks very gettable. And surely now, on Sportsbet, the Brisbane Heat are the slight favourites. Surely. Let's see if they agree with me. Oh, yes, they do. The Brisbane Heat are now massive favourites, $1.44. Excuse me. The Sydney Thunder have blown out to $2.75. And Chris Green back into the bowling attack. 49 off 30 with 7 wickets left in the dugout is almost nothing. Let's be honest. They have turned this around big time. Talk about back from the dead. Three for 125, 15 overs gone, 49 off 30 runs needed. Vicky, ahoy there, welcome along. Bryant steps over to the offside, gives himself room, and just lifts this over the top of short fine leg for 4 runs. Well, this is incredible. 50 for Maxi Bryant. 51 of 26. 8.51 is the current run rate. The required rate is now down to 9.31. Bryant goes again. Sky high. All the way over the long on fence for 6. And they are suddenly just making this look easy. Marcus Rogers asks if I'm happy with this. I've got to say I'm stunned by this. I am happy, obviously, but I'm more stunned than anything else. Oi. Yeah, you come here. You come and say hello. Oh, that's a full toss, and that's a no ball again. Surely pulled away from Bryant. It can't beat the diving fieldsman, but that is surely again over waist height, no ball. Surely. And it's called, and a free hit incoming again for the Brisbane Heat. This is incredible. This game turned on its head when they took the power surge, and they surprisingly, to my surprise and delight, they took the power surge right when they needed to, and everything started going their way from that point on. A free hit now. Max Bryant on strike. Chris Green. And Bryant goes after it. Has he got enough on it? No, he picks out the man at long on. He picks out the man at long on, and they come back for two. He was caught, but it was a free hit, so he can't be out. Three for 140. Bryant, 61 of 29. And Vicky, yes, surely the Brisbane Heat win from here. Surely. 7.56, the required run rate. They have pulled that right back. Green, another full toss above waist height. Ripped away for four. That's surely called again. We're waiting for the umpire's call, but either way, it's a boundary. Max Bryant has absolutely tonked it through the offside. It was wide and full, and he's got away with that one. Jag Masters, ahoy, mate. Happy New Year. 2025 is going to be massive. 2025, the biggest year of wasted water sports incoming. Bryant backs away, pulls it into the gap. They cut it off, and they'll come back for two. This is incredible batting. 28 runs off 25 balls required. Chris Green, his figures have been shot to pieces now suddenly. Final ball here of Chris Green's spell. And Bryant just turns it away for a single. He's batting extremely well. 27 needed off the final 24 balls, and with 7 wickets left in the dugout, surely the Brisbane Heat win from here. Surely. It's all coming up Millhouse for the Brisbane Heat, as we said. And they've started with a boundary here. And Bryant has a big air swing at that one. It's 3 for 151. They need 23 off 22 balls. Incredible the way that they've turned this game around. We said that they needed to be proactive. They needed to take that power surge early to try and turn the momentum. And boy, did they turn the momentum. Bryant swings and misses. Full. Hits the pads and gone. It's not over yet. It is not over yet, folks. Max Bryant goes for 72 off 34. Absolutely plum LBW. And she is not over yet. 23 runs still needed. Absolutely plum. Ferguson gets the breakthrough. Let's face it, Lockie Ferguson, probably the most likely of the Sydney Thunder bowlers to get the breakthrough. Max Bryant, though, enjoy that moment, young fella. Probably, in all honesty, Max Bryant's probably his best BBL innings ever. I mean, he played it smart, controlled. He's done really, really well out there tonight. My player of the match, even, as it stands at the moment. I would even go as far as to say that. Here we go. Tom Alsop, the keeper, in for Jimmy Pearson. Can he finish the job now? They need 23 of 21. Ferguson. Alsop bends it away for a dot ball to start. Four for 151. This one is not done yet. This is not done yet. Oh, impact. Oh, impact was umpire's call. I was going to say, it wasn't as plum as I initially thought, but impact was umpire's call, which was given out anyway. So, but yeah, interesting. Alsop just turns it off the hips for one. 22 runs needed off 19 balls. The job, not done. The job is not done. Renshaw needs to take the lead here. Matt Renshaw needs to lead this one home. 4 for 152, 22 off 19. Matt Renshaw needs to see this one home. Wide down the leg side. Not called. Not called. Renshaw can't believe it. The Brisbane Heat can't believe it. Wide down the leg side. Not called. The crowd are going to riot. A chorus of boos from the home fans. 22 needed of 18 balls. And I'm sorry, but that's well wide. That's well wide. You see those called every day of the week and twice on Sundays. But apparently not on Mondays. Dan Christian. This one is not over yet. Dan Christian, 1 for 16 off 3 overs so far. Into bowl. Alsop steps across the crease. But goes with the ball on the offside. Punches it for a single. Matt Renshaw back on strike. 21 off 17. The job not done. But the Brisbane Heat on top. Renshaw goes for it. Gets all of it. And that's a big 6 over mid-wicket. A monstrous 6. Renshaw moves to 47 or 30 balls. And Matty Renshaw has got to see this one home. 96 metres. And he has absolutely smoked that one. And the Brisbane Heat are under 1 run a ball now. Under 1 run a ball required, 15 of 16. Renshaw tries to go again. Doesn't get hold of that one. They come through for the single. Down to the man at short, fine leg. Four for 160. 14 needed or 15 balls. And with 6 wickets left in the dugout, surely the Brisbane Heat walk it in from here. Alsop on strike, fends it away, just takes the one. Smart batting. Get Renshaw on strike. Why wouldn't you? $13 or $14. 9 off this over from Christian so far. 1 for 25, though. Christian's done extremely well. Bangs this one in a little shorter. Gets the dot ball. 13 off 13. They're not done yet. Renshaw, 48 or 32. Alsop, 3 or 4. Just doing what he needs to do as the freshman in. Christian, full of ball, right on the toes. And Renshaw plugs it back to Christian for another dot ball to finish. Well bowled, Dan Christian. 1 for 25 off his 4. 13 runs needed off 12 balls. 6 wickets in hand. Surely that is still advantage to the Heat, but this is not over yet. 2 overs to bowl. 13 runs needed. NRL Super King, ahoy mate. Oh, this one's got some twists and turns left in it yet. Don't you worry. If they can rip through a couple of wickets, they being the Sydney Thunder, obviously. Wes Agar with a monstrous over here. Wes Agar, none for 48 off his 3 so far. Alsop on strike. Can he recover and turn this game around for the Thunder? Well, no, he can't, because that's 6. That is 6 over square leg. Wes Agar has had a shocker of a night. You've got to feel sorry for him. None for 54 off 3.1 overs. He has been absolutely tonked tonight, Wes Agar. And Tom Alsop puts that over the square leg fence for 6. And that will surely be the game. 7 off 11 required now. Alsop lifts this one up into the air. An easy catch for Lockie Ferguson. Importantly, did the batsman cross? Does that matter anymore? It's 4 for 167. 5 for 167 now as Alsop just scoops this one onto the offside. Taken at cover by Lockie Ferguson. 5 for 167. Alsop goes for 9 off 6. He's done what he needed to do, though. He's done what he needed to do. 9 off 6. He got the one big hit, but the previous 3 balls, he just got Renshaw on strike. That's all he needed to do. His job is done. Michael Neser comes to the crease. But I tell you what, Neser on strike. 7 runs needed from 10 balls. 4 deliveries left here for Wes Agar. And Wes Agar, he could rip through this tail. Michael Neser goes. The tail is well and truly exposed for the Heat. These are a big couple of balls. Agar to Neser. Neser goes after him, pulls him away for 4. No, yes. 1 bouncing over the rope. Banging and then 2 short there. Where's Agar? Oh, why was that not a full in-swinging Yorker right on the toes? He's banged it in short, and Neser pulls it away with comfort. 1 bouncing over the rope. Three runs now for the Heat from 9 balls to pull off an absolute miracle. Neser's gone for it. It's up in the air. It's high. Hasn't got enough distance. Nowhere near it, but it's been dropped. Lockie Ferguson drops it. Lockie Ferguson drops it. They come back for 2. The Brisbane Heat cannot lose now. 1 run needed of 8 balls. They can't lose. The scores are tied. And the Brisbane Heat are on the verge of an absolute miracle here. Wes Agar 1 for 60 of 3.4 overs. Neser on strike. Chips it away off the outside edge, and there's the winning run. The Brisbane Heat have pulled off a miraculous escape here at the Gabba. Renshaw doesn't get his 50. That's unfortunate. 18.5 overs. So they had 7 balls in hand. How have the Sydney Thunder lost this game? So many questions to be asked. The Brisbane Heat have pulled off the miracle of all miracles here. I mean, back from the dead. Move over, Jesus, right? Move over, Jesus Christ. We have seen a more impressive resurrection right here tonight. The Brisbane Heat win by 5 wickets. An unbelievable fight back. Marcus Rogers, yes, I do live in Brisbane. Archie17 says, you are probably my favorite content creator. Cheers, Archie. I'll drink to that. Wow. 5 for 174, and they've done it with 7 balls to spare. What an incredible fight back. And it all came down to the power surge. I did not think they were going to call it. It's good because, like, we were talking about it, weren't we? If anyone was here in that 10th over, when all hope looked lost for the Brisbane Heat, we talked about it very specifically and said they need to be proactive here. They need to call this surge early and try and change the momentum in this game. I didn't think they actually would, though, because Colin Munro has made some disastrous choices as captain throughout the course of BBL 14 so far, so I had no confidence that they actually would do it, but they did. They did exactly what they needed to do, and they just, ran away with the game from that point on. Max Bryant, player of the match. Enjoy your KFC, lad. A beautiful batting performance. And maybe, just maybe, the persistence with Max Bryant paying some dividends. Because there's been a lot of persistence with Max Bryant, hasn't there? It took him a long time before he really developed. But that was a very mature and very quality innings. Max Bryant and Matt Renshaw have saved the day. An incredible comeback victory for the Heat. What a comeback. Brisbane Heat keep their title defense alive. A big win, a much-needed win. Boy, did they need that. Are we live tomorrow? Most likely. Look, I can't say... I honestly can't say with any 110% certainty, but I can say most likely. We most likely will be. How do I get to the bloody... I don't know. Oh, is it over there? Yes, it is. Okay. All right, so the Brisbane Heat sneak into the top 4 on the back of that. Fantastic comeback victory, winning by 5 wickets with 7 deliveries to spare. That was insane. I don't play Fortnite. Like, ever. I've never played it. I know what it is, obviously, but I've never played it. Certainly not on the sports streams. So most likely ending the live here. Bunnings snag. Oh, God. Bunnings snag. I don't mean to sound weird, but boy, I could go a Bunnings snag right now. Or any snag would be nice. No, actually, I have leftover barbecue ribs that I will heat up and devour post-stream. I'll be pretty keen on that. All right, Wasted World of Sports, thank you so much for your company here. And to answer the question, Will Main, yes, I do have a specific gaming account. It's called Intoxigamer. Intoxigamer on YouTube. But Wasted World of Sports, that is the end of that one. A miracle comeback for the Brisbane Heat. An amazing victory in the end. And yeah, we will most likely be on tomorrow. But play it by ear, see how it goes. Thank you so much for your company for this one. Very much appreciate it. As always, another classic game. We have, just before I go though, can I say, we have seen some fantastic games in BBL 14, right? Like, I'm talking games that go down to the wire, victories off the last ball or the last over or taking the last wicket. We have seen some high quality games from BBL 14. Might possibly be the best BBL season that we've seen so far in terms of competitiveness, games going down to the wire and whatnot. It's been a lot of fun. So thank you so much for joining me for this one. Until next time, you know what to do. Cheers. Brisbane Heat title defense still alive.